So I've been tasked to give a little background as to our treatment this year. And I think most people are aware that we did switch from a chemical called Renovate to one called Procelicor. And the main reason that this was done is really cost and effectiveness. The amount of chemical that's needed to kill milfoil with Procelicor is very minute compared to the concentration needed with Renovate, and it also costs less. And so one of the things that we have up here is just some of those cost comparisons. The hope with Procelicor is that we're going to treat maybe every 3 years rather than 2 years with Renovate. The total cost of treatment this year was $179,615, as you see there, and Renovate in 2019 for treating the same area, 190 acres, was $238,000. So we're saving quite a bit, and we save even more by extending our treatment period to every 3 years. And I think, you know, most people that were out on the lake this year, and you'll see when we actually see the rake toss study that Bob Johnson did, the effectiveness of Procelicor was pretty amazing. An example of that was even where my property is. I'm up at the north end of the lake. They treated, the closest part that was treated near me was McNitt State Park. And I still had a total kill of a milfoil out in front of our property, even though our area wasn't specifically treated. So the town contribution for the Procelicor was $55,000. Part of that was the snail study that you see down at the bottom there, which was $12,000. We won't have to do that again, I do not believe. And the CLA contribution was $124,000. Next slide. The CLA fundraising effort for this, we raised a total of $179,000. That was down $50,000 from 2018. But just my own feeling, I think because we knew we would be saving some money and things like that, our effort to fundraise, we were a little bit less aggressive, I think, than we were back in 2018. Lakefront residents, we still would like to get more lakefront residents donating, but that was $121,000 of the effort. The total down at the bottom there, you'll see we sent out about 2,500 letters to various people, and 366 people actually contributed. Non-lakefront border residents that contributed were 245, and that was $58,000. So really, you know, quite good. We always have the feeling when we're getting donors that the lakefront owners have the biggest stake in all of this, and so we'd like to see that number go up in the future. But overall, I think we felt pretty good about the fundraising. Next slide. So the next study is the Bob Johnson rake tossed it. Yeah, this is going to be hard for people to see, I think, but it's probably the most important slide that I want to cover today. And this really has to do with the effectiveness of the Procelicor versus Renovate. So the yellow that you see there are all the Renovate years except for the column on the very right-hand side. So the one in 2021 is here. All the other yellow columns are treatment years, but they're Renovate years. When Bob goes out and studies, he's doing, I think it's over a little bit over 300 sites that he actually tosses out a rake, brings it in, and then counts the plants that he gets. And every year, one of the things that he's looking at is, are we killing just milfoil, or are we killing other native plants as well? And both Renovate and Procelicor are very, very good at just leaving the native plants alone. Cazenovia Lake has had a very good kind of a cross-section of native plants that have not been disturbed by our treatment. And probably the biggest thing that we're seeing with Priscillacor, can we come up a little bit? Yeah. And again, this may be difficult to see, but these are plots, and they're plots of numbers of positive milfoil that were found. So let's just take 2019, when he tossed out the rake for those 300 different sites. Bob Johnson counted milfoil in 115 of those sites, okay? And if you go through all of this, okay, these numbers up here tend to match up with non-treatment years, the one above these lines. So in 2020, which was a non-treatment year, he tossed out the rake to those 300 sites, and 236 of them were positive for milfoil. Well, the big takeaway from this is that this year, after the treatment with Priscillacor, only 25 sites out of 300 showed milfoil in them. And so again, the hope is that we're not going to treat next year or the year after, but we'll probably find that we'll have to treat the following year. But this is a very important study, because we'll do this same study for the next 2 years. Bob Johnson will go out next summer and do the exact same thing, and we'll watch this number very carefully to see what it's doing.